I served 2 years on the southern Israeli border near the Negev desert. Anyone who's done time there knows the routine: endless sand, dry air, and boredom broken only by the occasional jackal or a lost smuggler trying to sneak across. Most of the time it was dead quiet. But one night, the night I can't forget, changed everything. It was early November, cold for the desert. Our outpost, Station 37, was barely more than concrete walls and rusting watchtowers built decades ago during some forgotten conflict. 3 of us were pulling the night shift: me, Avi, and Corin. We were in the comms bunker, scanning the security feed, drinking cold instant coffee, and counting the hours until dawn. Around 2:30 a.m., the outer motion sensor tripped. Fence Sector 4, a dead zone. Nothing but rocks, sand, and old minefields from the 70s. No reason anyone sane would go there. Command radioed in. Satellites showed no heat, no vehicles, no movement. Probably a jackal again, Avi muttered, yawning. But protocol was protocol. I pulled recon duty. I grabbed my Taver, night vision scope, and vest, then walked out into the cold black desert. The wind was picking up, kicking grit in my eyes. For a long time there was nothing, just empty hills and fence poles fading into the dark. Then I froze. Someone stood on the ridge across the fence. A man, dark fatigues, no markings, no weapon visible. He just stood there, motionless, staring straight at me. I raised my rifle, radioed the bunker. Corin, I've got visual. 300 meters, possible hostile. Roger, sending backup. Hold position. I blinked. He was gone. I scanned left, right. Nothing. Sand, rocks, the minefield grid. No tracks, no sound. But then I heard it, the soft, unmistakable click of a rifle. Bolt chambering around. Crack. A shot split the air, kicking dirt inches from my boot. I hit the ground hard. Sniper! I yelled, scrambling behind a rusted barrier. Avi and Corin scrambled to get drones up and thermal scanning. But the feed showed nothing. We held the base on full alert for 3 hours. No movement, no heat signatures, no footprints, no vehicle tracks. Nothing on the sand but wind-blown dunes. The next day, a patrol was sent out. They found no shell casings, no footprints. But in the old minefield, they dug up something strange. An ancient IDF helmet half buried in the dirt. It was old, battered, the kind they stopped using in the 1970s. Inside was a photo, black and white, faded. A group of soldiers in old Israeli uniforms, standing in front of this very station. Scrawled on the back in shaky handwriting: Outpost 37KI, a sniper team, Yom Kippur War, 1973. Their faces were pale, grainy, but one of them looked just like the man I saw. Same thin face, same hollow eyes. I stared at that photo for a long time. Corin and Avi stayed quiet. No jokes. No shrugging this off. That night, the fence alarm tripped again. Sector 4. But this time, the camera caught something. A single figure, walking the ridge line, wearing old fatigues. Helmet glinting under the moonlight. We watched, holding our breath. He vanished into thin air. No tracks. No sound. Just gone. After that night, none of us volunteered for perimeter checks. And when we rotated out a month later, Station 37 got shut down for equipment failure. In 2017, I served my mandatory time in the Iranian ground forces, stationed near the province of Kermanshah, close to the Iraq border. It's a mountainous region filled with old caves, abandoned bunkers from the Iran-Iraq War, and endless local legends whispered by older soldiers, stories about men who went missing, never to return. One cold autumn night, our unit was ordered to investigate one of these forgotten structures, a derelict military bunker hidden deep in a remote hillside. Locals called it Shaitan's Mouth. Officially, It was an old storage facility from the 1980s, but rumors said no one who went in there came out the same. I didn't want to go. But orders are orders. The convoy dropped us 5 kilometers from the entrance because the dirt road had turned to thick mud from the rain. I went in on foot with 3 other soldiers, fully armed. Our radios crackled with strange interference soft noises, like distant whispering dot. When we finally found the entrance, something felt wrong. The steel door was wide open. The inner lock meant to seal the bunker from the inside was broken and torn outward. Who or what forced it open? We clicked on our flashlights and moved in slowly. The air smelled of rust, rot, and old mold. The halls were narrow and crooked, with puddles of stagnant water reflecting our shaky light beams. We crept deeper into the bunkers. Storage sector dot, and then we heard it dot footsteps dot slow, dragging dot coming from deep down the corridor. Who's there? Identify yourself. My sergeant barked dot silence dot. Then the lights began to flicker, and we saw it. A shadow. Standing at the end of the tunnel. Tall, too thin to be human. Still but somehow breathing dot. My buddy Reza raised his rifle and fired. The gunshots rang out through the metal halls. Nothing fell. The shadow was gone. Then total darkness. All flashlights went dead at once. Panic. Someone screamed behind me. Blind gunfire. Metal clattering. A body being dragged. I fumbled with my lighter, shaking. Only 3 of us were left. The 4th man, Majid, was gone. We ran, desperate. But something was terribly wrong. The exit was gone. Where the steel door should have been, only a solid concrete wall. Impossible. The door was here. Reza yelled, pounding the cement. Emergency lights flicked on by themselves, glowing faint red. That's when we heard the footsteps again, closer this time. Dozens of them. Coming down the corridor. Then came the voices. Hoarse whispers in ancient Persian words none of us understood. And Majid appeared. But he wasn't Majid anymore. His eyes were pitch black, no pupils. His mouth stretched in a horrible grin, cut unnaturally wide across his cheeks. And he was muttering softly in a language no living man speaks. We ran through the maze of tunnels, turning corner after corner, but the passages kept changing. Like the bunker itself was shifting, breathing, trapping us inside. Reza was the first to fall. He vanished into the shadows. One scream. Then silence. The sergeant tripped, cracked his head on a low pipe, and went down cold. I was alone. Alone with the whispers. Suddenly, the wall ahead shimmered, turning into a curtain of mist, and I could see the dark mountain night outside. I ran without looking back. I stumbled up the muddy slope, gasping, crying, the sound of heavy steps following me until the last moment. I was the only one who made it out alive. When the rescue team arrived the next day, the bunker was sealed shut, as if no one had opened it in years. No tracks, no signs of forced entry. They said no one had touched that place since 1989. But I know what I saw. I know what's still down there. Something old. Something hungry. Back in 2015, I served my reserve duty with the IDF, guarding remote supply routes in the Negev desert. It was boring work most of the time, just endless rocks, sand, and blistering sun. But one week, something happened that I've never been able to explain, and I wish I could forget it. Our small patrol of 4 was assigned to check out an old, decommissioned outpost near the Egyptian border, a place called Post 46. Long abandoned since the 80s, no one ever went there anymore. And the official map marked it as unusable. But for some reason, no explanation given, we were ordered to secure it overnight. We drove out there at dusk. The desert wind was picking up, carrying sand and dust into our faces. When we finally reached the post, the air felt wrong. Too quiet. No wind. No insects. Even the Jeep's radio crackled with static and went dead as soon as we parked. The place looked like a skeleton of what it once was rusting fences. Broken towers, sand piled against the walls like time itself was trying to bury the place. And yet the main gate was slightly open. Like someone had gone in, probably Bedouin squatters, our sergeant muttered. Keep your weapons ready. We stepped inside, and that's when it began. First the cold. A sudden drop in temperature, even though the desert was still warm under the twilight sky. Then the smell like old rot, mixed with something sharp, metallic. We swept the main yard, but it was empty. No signs of animals or people, but on the ground we found footprints, bare human footprints, going in circles. Fresh. Inside the main bunker. It was dark and hollow, the concrete wall stained with years of water damage. As I moved down the corridor, I could hear whisper soft voices behind the walls, speaking Hebrew, or maybe Arabic. I couldn't tell. We gathered in the command room. On the far wall, something new was scrawled in black. He waits below. The sergeant cursed. We're leaving. But the door wouldn't open. No matter how hard we pulled, kicked, or slammed it, it stayed locked. Like it had welded shut. And then came the pounding. From below us. Rhythmic, heavy, like something deep underground was trying to reach the surface. Concrete under our boots shook with each thud. And then screams. Real, human screams coming from the radio. It switched on by itself, hissing and spitting out terrified voices, calling for help in broken Hebrew, pleading, crying. Who is this? The sergeant barked into the radio. No answer, just sobbing and static. Then we heard footsteps from the corridor behind us. We turned as a figure emerged from the dark hallway. It wore an old IDF uniform, faded, stained. No insignia. No name tag. Its face. Wrong. Pale, eyes like polished stone. Black and shining. It smiled. And that's when the sergeant fired. The bullets hit square in the chest. But the thing didn't flinch. It kept walking, grinning wider. I don't remember deciding to run. I just did. I sprinted out of the bunker, expecting the door to hold me back, but this time it swung open easily. I tumbled into the sand outside. The others didn't make it out. When I looked back, the gate was closed, and the outpost was gone. I swear, the whole structure vanished. Just empty desert stretching to the horizon. Like it was never there. The army said I'd hallucinated. Stress, heat stroke, exhaustion. But I wasn't the only one on that mission. The other 3 were never found. Their names were quietly erased from the records.